the source, to open yourselves up and be able to do that, you actually spread that beautiful understanding wherever you go, even if you don't speak. Mm-hmm. So this is part of the change also that we're moving through. Unfortunately, at the same time, there are other energies that are sort of working in a different, in a different way. And it is not that, you can call it dark and light, evil and good, find your words. But remember that we don't need to bring the light into everything. We need to find the balance. And our world is very much out of balance right now between the dark and the light, or the positive and the negative, whatever wording you choose, the harmony and the disharmony. It is out of balance. And this is what the consciousness is moving into, an understanding and an acceptance and a realization that we are collectively unbalanced. And it is, whether it is a conscious understanding or a subconscious understanding, everyone on the earth is feeling this change. And because of the feeling of this change, because of the feeling of the rapid movement of life right now, because of the seemingly supercharged emotional, and I mean supercharged emotional, we have to slow our minds down just enough to say, okay, we need to connect and put our thoughts together and our hearts together and our actions together to truly make change happen, so that we will not be killing the waters on the earth and the earth itself, because the earth will recover, but humanity may not, and that is the issue.
Yeah, and I think that you made a very important point, and that is that we need to get back into the balance, because I know that so many people feel like there is a need to fight the darkness, in a literal sense of the word fight. So I think it's very important to stress that issue, that we need to actually bring back a balance. But also many people would say that, we've heard this before. We've heard that, there are changes on the planet, and that the world is going to, to trash, and that there's this big change that is going to happen. So what do you feel is so much different than from all those of, at least thousands, of years back, where we have all these prophets and, all these religions and even non-religious people saying that now it's the time when it's going to happen, So why is this any different?
Well, I don't think that there's ever been a time like this before, because of the, the acceleration. Mm-hmm. There is no other time. If there's ever been anything in the past where people have said, yeah, this is the time, I don't know what you're referring to. I have no idea what you're referring to. You're talking about the year 2000, when everybody thought that everything was going to crash? Is that, I don't know what you're referring to. You'd have to give me clarity on that to be able to give you an answer for why this is the time. Because I think that in itself, agape, needs to be clarified. And I'd like to. So what are you referring to? Can I start by asking you that question?
Of course. Well, what I'm referring to, and again, most of the time what I do is that I'm really trying to get to the basics. So I understand, all the things that you said, but I do need to ask this question, because I know many people are saying this, is that I'm not referring to any specific time. I'm just saying that many people say that there have been many, many times before where it has been said that our world is entering, a time where a great deal of pain will be happening on Earth. For example, one of the fields would be, the Y2K and everything, how it was said that the whole Earth will basically collapse because of it and things like that. So my question is, what is so much different in the time that we're experiencing now from all the other occasions when it was said that everything is going to change on this planet, that the time as we know it is going to change, or the world as we know it?
Okay, so here's what I have to say about the year 2000. I sat back and laughed at everyone because I said to every single human being around me, nothing's going to happen, don't worry about it. And they said, oh my God, and everybody's in panic. I said, nothing's going to happen, it's going to be just fine. People said when Hale-Bopp went past that everything was going to go, turn around. I said, listen, it's fine. When people said that, there have been other things that have come up, and nothing else is popping into my mind, but, it really bothers me. It bothers me personally. When I hear about these, quote, claims of these great cataclysms that are going to happen and that everything is going to go up, yes, I talk about those things. I have, and I do, and I always, I'm sure, will talk about those things. But I'm going to give that some clarity. For example, 2012, I have never once said that the year 2012, that anything would happen. Never once did I say that 2012 was the year when great devastation was going to come to the earth. And if there's one thing that needs to have clarification, it's 2012. Because to say that we're all going to die is not being responsible. To say that there's nothing that you can do is not being responsible. If saying that, oh, well, you're going to die and you're still going to live is not being responsible. It says, oh, well, it's all right. Go and trash the world because what do you care? When you're dead, it doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. If it's saying that 2012, as soon as somebody says those numbers, I automatically get upset. It automatically brings pain into my heart because there is so much fear being sold to the public over that year, absolute fear, that they can't see past it anymore. Every day more books are coming out on 2012. Every day more books are being said, 2012, 2012, 2012, death, destruction, dying, end of the world, polar shifts, this and that. Listen, the Gulf event recently in the United States, the area of the United States with the spill, had an awful effect on our world's oceans. Why are we not looking at that more closely? Why are we not saying what we can do more in a positive way? Because if we focus on a date and say this is what's going to happen, then we're going to make it happen because every action that we have is going to create that. Saying that there's nothing that you can do, that it's going to happen anyway, that we're all going to die, all of these things sets you up so that you become complacent. Mm-hmm. You do absolutely nothing, and therefore it truly does unfold. Now, when it comes to this information that these beings gave to me, they always mentioned to me the year 2010. And from the very first time I ever came out publicly, I talked about 2010, and I said that in 2010 would be the beginning of Earth changes, and that there would be massive Earth changes. 2010 rolled around, and there was massive earthquakes everywhere that has killed a great number of people. There's been volcanoes that have gone off. I also talked about that way back, years ago. You can talk about these things and say, listen, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare for these things because we are talking about a planet that is alive. It is a being unto itself, and we are guests on this earth. So we need to be responsible for this particular being that we are blessed to be allowed to ride on her back. If we talk about why this time is different than any other, it's very easy to see why it's different. The number of people on the planet has never been higher. And in the last 40 years, I think it's 40 or 50 years, the planet has doubled
50.
or tripled.
Yeah, 50 years, it has doubled.
In the last 50 years, the planet has doubled. That means that in another 25 years, it's going to double again. Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So what happens is we have a responsibility as an individual to pay attention and to be proactive in creating change. We cannot continue to strip mine the earth, to pollute the water, all of the rivers and oceans. And those two things alone, three things on this, actually four things, if you want to talk about this, four things. One, strip mining the earth. We cannot continue to keep doing it at the levels that we're doing it, and they're increasing every day. Indigenous people, many indigenous tribes all over the world are having their land taken from them illegally by governments all over the earth right now, because the corporations want to go on, and they want to go onto their land and strip mine them for whatever the cause is. Do the research yourself. Don't rely on what I have to say. Okay? That's happening with that. If we double our population again in another 25 years, because I would imagine that time frame, gets smaller all the time also, how are we going to sustain life? Because of that one thing. Secondly, the amount of oil that we have in the earth. We cannot continue to keep taking the oil from the earth and expect the earth to be able to continue functioning. Okay, we are polluting it because of the spills, because of the cars, because of the production of it, all of it. Okay, so we're killing the air and the water and ourselves as a result of that. We have with the seeds and the food all over the earth. The food, okay, the food issue is massive. Monsanto, the company Monsanto, is one of the most destructive forces on the planet today, because they literally go in and kill ecosystems because of some of these particular genetically modified foods. The idea and concept of a genetically modified food and the reasoning for it is good. But what they're doing is not good, because, and again, you have to do your research. I cannot sit here and explain all of this in one interview. Monsanto, do the research. Then you have the area of our waters. If you look around at the rivers that are all over the earth, these rivers supply us clean water for drinking. They supply us with lakes where all of this water that we drink comes from. Where is it that we are going to be able to find this water if our rivers are polluted? River banks are polluted with plastic bottles of what? Water. What kind of ridiculous system have we bought, and that is a key word, bought into, where we have to go and pay for a bottle of water that then that plastic then gets thrown into our rivers, destroying the very thing that we could have had clean to go and put our hands into the water and drink for free. And now we can't drink the water for free because it's polluted. So if you want to know what's happening on the earth and why right now is critical, look up what's happening to the waters around the world. They're being bought up by who? Corporations. They're being bought up by ex-government people such as George Bush. This is not about some big conspiracy theory either. It's about a realistic view of what it is that we're doing to ourselves. If you are a voter, you vote for these people to go in and be your representative. If you are a person